This is a story about spiritual awakening between the world and eternity. 10 years ago, I was lost in a thick fog, wandering through uncertainty with no clear path ahead. I asked the sky, the night, even the silence that surrounded me, when will this suffering end? It felt as if my family's fate had been written in ink that never fades, like waves crashing endlessly against the shore, generation after generation. But the fiercest storm came in 2016, when my father, the man who always tried to be a light for others in the dark, took his last breath. And just like that, the last flicker of light dimmed, leaving us in a night with no stars. In the quiet hours of the night, I fell into deep reflection. Questions echoed in the corners of my soul, shaking me to my core. Why was I born? What is the purpose of my existence? Where am I supposed to go? And then I began to understand. Every soul walks its own path, guided by unseen hands toward a truth greater than itself. No one has the right to judge this journey, for only the one who holds the universe knows the answers. We once believed that atoms were the smallest building blocks of existence, until we discovered quantum particles, something even smaller, more elusive, more unknowable. Doesn't that remind us that there is still so much beyond our understanding? Life is the same way. Light and darkness, joy and sorrow, they are two sides of the same coin, forever entwined in the dance of the cosmos. Awareness doesn't fall from the sky, nor does it come as a mystical whisper in the wind. It grows slowly, from the long journey of turning inward and listening to the silence within. When I surrendered in prayer, I felt His presence not in grand signs but in the stillness. And in that stillness, I finally understood. This world is nothing but passing shadows, illusions that fade, while His truth remains unshaken. In silence, I spoke to my own soul, and from that silence, answers began to flow. Not in words, not in logic, but in a quiet knowing that settled deep within. That whisper became my compass, guiding me toward a peace that no earthly treasure could ever replace. Every person has the ability to hear their inner voice, but we are often too caught up chasing validation, tangled in ego, envy, and desires that cloud our clarity. We search for answers with restless hearts, when true wisdom arrives gently, like a river that knows exactly where it must go. All we need to do is train our hearts to embrace stillness, to let peace find its own way to us. We often look at others and think they are happier, luckier, without truly knowing what lies behind their smiles. I used to be like that too, doubting everything that couldn't be explained. But now I understand. There is a vast difference between the supernatural and the spiritual. Those who chase the supernatural seek power and recognition. But those who walk the spiritual path will find something far greater, a quiet emptiness. And in that emptiness, true peace is born, like the morning dew kissing the earth, silent yet full of meaning.
The fog of life and the search for meaning. The first reflection. This story is not merely about loss. It is about the journey of a soul lost in the mist, searching for direction in the depths of the night. There is something profoundly silent yet resounding in its words. A cry unheard, a sorrow without form, yet undeniably real in the chambers of the heart. Suffering is not a punishment, but a catalyst for the evolution of the soul. In many spiritual teachings, suffering is often linked to deeper learning, whether in resolving past karma or in accelerating the journey toward enlightenment. It stirs the essential questions that every seeking soul has pondered. Why was I born? Why must I endure this suffering? These are not merely philosophical inquiries, but profound spiritual reflections, whispers of the universe, echoing through the depths of existence. Through the light of higher understanding, birth is never a coincidence. The human soul is not randomly cast into the world, wandering without purpose. There are unseen laws at work behind every life, the law of cause and effect, the law of balance, and the eternal path toward awakening. The fog of suffering and the waves of fate. From the very beginning, this story is shrouded in fog, not merely a natural phenomenon, but a symbol of confusion, uncertainty, and sorrow that endlessly engulfs the protagonist's life. This fog does not simply drift away with the morning sun. It lingers for years, as if fate itself had inscribed it with ink of suffering. The waves, ceaselessly crashing against the rocks, serve as a haunting metaphor. These are not just tides that come and go, but currents of destiny that relentlessly test the soul. Not once, not in just one generation, but again and again across time. There is a sense of surrender, yet also resilience. The rock remains standing, though the waves never tire of striking. Losing the light, falling into darkness. A father who in this story is not merely a figure, but a guiding light, a beacon in the midst of night. And when that light fades, what remains? Only darkness, solitude, and a silence that speaks louder than words. Grief here is not painted with cries or lamentations, but with a silence so dense it becomes suffocating. There are no screams, yet there is an emptiness more painful than any sound. This loss is more than just physical separation. It is the loss of direction, the loss of stability, the loss of meaning itself. Unanswered questions, an endless search. From the silence, haunting questions arise. Why was I born? Where should these steps lead? This is not just a fleeting reflection, but a journey into the deepest parts of the self, seeking something that may never truly be found. A slow realization begins to take root, that every soul has its own path, that this search is a part of destiny to be lived, not judged by anyone. That sometimes answers do not come in words, but are revealed through the journey itself. The laws of the universe and the reason for the soul's birth. In the silent dance of the cosmos, every soul is like a drop of dew falling into the world, carrying an unseen journey within. Nothing exists without a reason, just as no leaf falls without the wind's consent. Birth is an echo of cosmic law, a fusion of cause and effect, written in letters of light. Every step we take, every breath we inhale, is part of destiny's symphony, resonating since the dawn of time. So, never think that your birth is mere coincidence. There's a reason you are here. A reason your soul chose this body, this place, this moment. But the universe never creates anything without meaning. According to the laws of the universe, birth is not a random event, but a will rooted in the soul's journey. Every being is born with a purpose, aligned with the law of cause and effect that has been woven long before. There are several reasons why a soul comes into this world. The beginning of a symphony, like a river just beginning to flow from its source. New souls are pure, seeking ways to understand the world. They are the children of the morning, learning the warmth of the sun and the cold embrace of the night. These souls dance upon the waves, believing the world is only as vast as what their eyes can see and their hands can touch. Like a budding flower kissing the dawn's first dew, they arrive with eyes filled with wonder. Yet, their innocence can be stained by the harshness of the world. They may become a gentle breeze or a raging storm, shaped by how life molds them. Some will lose themselves in the dazzling illusions of existence, chasing fleeting shadows of pleasure, unaware that true happiness is not something to be grasped. It is something to be felt from within. And in time, life will teach them that beyond the surface lies an ocean far deeper. And true wisdom belongs not to the eyes, but to the heart that remains awake. But make no mistake, these new souls will not remain untouched forever. In time, they will learn. They will feel their first wound, experience their first loss, and shed their first silent tear beneath the solitude of night. And in that sorrow, a question will arise. Why am I here? That is the true beginning of their journey. New souls enter the world like a blank canvas, untouched by the brushstrokes of fate. They come to taste life from its purest point, to experience both its sweetness and bitterness, and to slowly discover their spiritual essence. With each step, they gather fragments of understanding, though often swept away by worldly currents. Lost in the mirage of material existence, still far from grasping the depth of true wisdom. A light that holds silence. Unlike newly born souls, old souls have traveled long roads through countless lifetimes. They carry fragments of wisdom from the past, with an inner awareness that is sharper and a spiritual sensitivity that runs deep. The world often feels unfamiliar to them, as if its rhythm does not align with the vibrations of their soul. Thus, they often choose a different path, becoming a light for others or retreating into solitude, seeking meaning beyond the boundaries of the material world. A soul that has walked through many lives is a silence that holds 1,000 languages. They are no longer easily enchanted by the glitter of the world, for they have seen impermanence in every step. These souls often feel like strangers amidst the noise, like a star that prefers to shine in the stillness of the night rather than in the clamor of daylight. They do not seek recognition, for what they long for is truth, something that can only be felt, not proven. There are souls who have wandered far before this lifetime. They are silent travelers carrying stories of 1,000 years within their gaze. You can recognize them by their eyes. There is depth in them, as if they have seen more than words could ever explain. These souls are no longer drawn to the chaos of the world. They have witnessed grand palaces crumble, kings who once ruled, now reduced to mere dust in history. They have loved deeply, only to watch love vanish like smoke in the wind. That is why they do not cling easily. They love without possessing. They give without expecting in return. The world sees them as strange. Why do they not chase wealth? Why do they not crave recognition? Because they know it is all an illusion. What is real is not what can be held, but what can be felt in silence. These old souls often become nameless teachers, guides without words, simply by existing in a state of quiet serenity. Yet, despite having journeyed through many lives, they are still human. They too can grow weary. They too can long for their true home, a place where the soul can finally rest in eternal light. A chain that must be forged like the moon endlessly chasing the sun in an eternal cycle. Samsara is the journey of a soul not yet complete. Those still bound within its grasp must perfect the lessons left unfinished, repay the karmic debts still lingering. Yet samsara is not a punishment, it is the path home for a soul seeking balance. Like leaves that fall only to return as roots, life does not merely repeat itself. It composes a deeper harmony with each rebirth. There are souls caught in the ceaseless tide of existence, like waves that never cease to kiss the shore. They are burdened by debts unpaid, by wounds unhealed, by karma that still tilts the scales of destiny. Yet, samsara is not a curse. It is the whetstone that sharpens the soul, the stern but loving teacher. Every life given is not a sentence but a chance. A tyrant king may be reborn as a beggar, so he may taste the meaning of compassion. A mother who once lost her child may return as an abandoned orphan, so she may learn the depths of love beyond grief. Nothing happens without reason. No sorrow is meaningless. The universe moves in a perfection often beyond our grasp. And when one finally understands this law, their vision of life changes. No longer do they ask, "Why must I endure this?" but rather, "What must I learn from this?" Many souls are reborn within the endless tide of samsara, the unbroken wheel of birth and death. This is not mere fate, but an invitation, an opportunity to weave balance, to right past wrongs, to fulfill unfinished kindness. Each return is not a chain that binds, but a key that unlocks the door to liberation. Awareness that walks its own path. There are souls who return to the world not by force, but by choice, guided by a silent vow engraved within their being. They descend with clarity, carrying a mission upon their shoulders. To serve others, to complete an unfinished spiritual journey, or to transcend the limits of consciousness toward a greater enlightenment. Within them hums an unshakable resonance, an echo that calls them forward, leading their steps toward the destiny already written in the fabric of time. These souls are not bound by samsara. They are not chained by karma. They return because they choose to. They know the world is not a place of escape, but a field of learning. Like rain that falls not for itself, but to nourish the earth, they come not to be recognized, but to give, to heal, to uplift, to guide. And often, they return for those who once walked with them in lifetimes past, drawn by unseen prayers, by unspoken bonds that call them back to lift up the ones left behind. They see a world drowning in greed, in hatred, in blindness, and they whisper, "I will return, I will help." Though they may not always remember their purpose at first, the call remains. A quiet tremor in the heart, a distant voice that speaks in moments of silence. They are the ones who move through life feeling like wanderers, as if they do not truly belong to this place. The pleasures of the world do not hold them, for something far greater calls them home. Not to a house of stone, but to the sanctuary where the soul can finally rest in peace. And on this journey, they become light. Not because they seek to shine above others, but because they have walked through the darkness and know the way out. A flame in the vast night. Some souls do not arrive by desire nor by fate's gentle pull. They are sent, called forth by the will of the great source. Their presence is not a mere ripple in the river of existence. It is a tidal wave that reshapes shores unseen. They are not here merely to walk among the living, but to serve, to awaken, to shift the course of countless destinies. Some take the form of sages, guiding lost wanderers. Others endure the weight of suffering so that their scars may light the way for those trapped in darkness. These souls are not bound by longing, nor do they seek the fleeting joys of the world. They are fire set against the cold, burning away illusions, stirring the slumbering hearts of humanity. Their paths are often steeped in trials, for only through the crucible of pain does wisdom shine its purest. Like mountains weathered by the storm, they stand unmoved, not for themselves, but to uphold the balance of the universe. They are not here to search for meaning, but to embody it. Not to ask why, but to be the answer itself. Often they are tested from the moment they take their first breath, their souls tempered by hardship. They may walk unnoticed, blending into the currents of time, or they may rise as luminous beacons whose very existence alters the fate of nations. The world may not name them. Even they may not fully grasp the depth of their purpose. But the cosmos remembers. And in the end, all souls, whether newly awakened or ancient beyond reckoning, whether still bound or finally free, will return to the same sacred embrace. To a silence deeper than language, to a radiance unseen by mortal eyes. To the home where all questions dissolve, where all wounds are gathered into wholeness. And perhaps in that luminous stillness, the great odyssey ends. Or perhaps that is where the true journey begins. Bearing witness to the soul's journey. No one is born without reason, just as no star burns without meaning. We are all pilgrims in this vast existence, walking different paths, yet drawn toward the same silence. Do not judge another's journey by the steps you see, for the soul moves in depths unseen, weaving through corridors beyond the reach of understanding. Let every soul find its own way, for it is in the seeking that they shall come to know their truth. Like the endless Enzo, the journey of the soul is not a straight road but a spiral, circling back, yet never the same, returning to its origin with a deeper knowing. And in the end, every soul shall find its way home. To a silence deeper than words, to a light that needs no eyes to see, to the embrace of the eternal, where all beginnings and endings dissolve into one. Lessons from the laws of the universe. Within the great silence of the cosmos, where even the smallest particles transcend the limits of human understanding, lies a whisper of truth, reminding us that the reality we perceive is but a fragment of a greater, boundless mystery. Just as the atom, once believed to be the most fundamental essence, was revealed to hold within it even finer, more elusive elements beyond the reach of our senses, so too is human existence, woven with secrets, waiting to be unraveled by those who dare to seek. Life is a veiled mystery. Like the dance of waves and particles in quantum mechanics, unfathomable by linear thought, life unfolds in an unpredictability that defies our senses. We are often ensnared in dualities, good and evil, joy and sorrow, light and darkness. Yet, as the wisdom of Taoism reveals through yin and yang, these forces are not rivals but complementary elements in the great symphony of existence. Goodness has no meaning without the presence of hardship, and suffering is not the opposite of joy, but the teacher that reveals its true essence. Likewise, the burdens we bear are not chains, but doorways to deeper understanding. Awakening does not arrive like a sudden lightning bolt from the heavens, but emerges from the still waters of deep contemplation. A revelation that dissolves illusions and awakens the soul. The illusion of the world and the eternal truth. In the mysticism of the East, the world is often likened to Maya, a veil of illusion that blinds humanity from seeing reality as it truly is. We cling desperately to material wealth, to fleeting desires, to the constructs of our own making, forgetting that they are mere shadows passing with the wind. Riches, power, even the bodies we inhabit are but dust upon the current of time, while the laws of the universe remain unshaken in their eternal flow. True surrender is not defeat, but the serene acceptance of life's unfolding. And in that surrender, in the silence beyond words, the voice of the divine is heard. Not as sound, but as a vibration that stirs the soul, guiding it toward its rightful path. Just as a Zen master does not seek enlightenment in spoken teachings, but in the perfect stillness that reveals all. The whisper of the soul as the guiding light. The ancient philosopher Plato once taught that truth is not something learned from the world, but something already within us, waiting to be remembered. So too is the voice of the soul. It does not arrive from outside, but arises from the depths of a spirit that has traveled through lifetimes. Yet, amidst the clamor of ambition, the ceaseless echoes of desire, that sacred whisper is drowned. We wander the world searching for fulfillment in things external, believing happiness to be found in achievement, unaware that the key has always rested within. Only when one silences the noise of the mind and listens deeply to the stillness within does one discover a peace unmeasurable by anything of this world. Finding harmony in the laws of the universe. The cosmos does not move according to human will, but follows laws woven into its fabric since the dawn of creation. Those who understand this cease their resistance against the currents of life, choosing instead to flow with them. Like water that does not fight against stone, but embraces it, shaping its path with patient surrender. True wisdom is not in knowing all things, but in accepting that some truths lie beyond the grasp of thought. Enlightenment is not something to be chased, but something found in the quiet surrender of the seeking mind. And in that silence, in that stillness, in the understanding that all is but a fleeting mirage, there, the soul finally finds its way home. Clearing the heart to hear the soul's truth. Like the rippling surface of a lake stirred by the wind, the human heart is often tossed by waves of ambition, ego, and ceaseless desire. Yet, true wisdom cannot be reflected in waters that remain troubled. It reveals itself only when the surface is still, when the heart becomes clear and serene. This is the essence of the spiritual journey. Not to accumulate, but to release. Not to chase, but to surrender. The inner voice, the subtle pulse of a forgotten soul. Within every being lies a voice. Not loud, not demanding, but soft as the breath of dawn stirring the leaves, eternal as the stars that have witnessed the birth of time. Yet how often do we forsake this sacred whisper, letting it drown beneath the clamor of the world? In Zen, there is a teaching. Mizuno Kokoro, a heart like water. When water is still, it cradles the reflection of the moon, whole and undisturbed. So too, when the heart is calm, it mirrors the wisdom of the universe. But when it is restless, when waves of ambition, fear, and envy ripple across its surface, the reflection fractures and truth is lost in the turbulence of its own making. We chase enlightenment as if it were a distant horizon, believing it must be grasped, conquered, attained. But wisdom is not found in pursuit. It is revealed in stillness, in the silent spaces between thoughts, in the hush where the mind ceases its endless wandering. The soul speaks, not with words, but with a resonance only a heart washed clean of noise can hear. Misunderstanding the nature of life. We look upon the lives of others through the veil of our own longing, mistaking the surface for the depth, the illusion for the truth. We see their joy and call it fortune, their success and call it ease, unaware of the burdens their souls have carried through unseen storms. The ancient Stoics taught that suffering is not born from what befalls us, but from how we choose to see it. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them, whispered Epictetus, reminding us that perception is the weaver of our joys and sorrows. How often have I, too, questioned the fairness of existence, searching for justice in the shifting sands of the world. But the farther I walked upon this path, the more I understood. Every soul is given the lessons it was meant to learn. There is no life more blessed, no journey more cursed, only roads carved by destiny's hand, leading each wanderer to the wisdom they were meant to claim. Supernatural versus spiritual, diverging paths. Many mistake spirituality for the pursuit of the supernatural, believing that the journey of the soul is intertwined with the search for mystical powers. Yet the supernatural and the spiritual are paths that do not converge. Those who seek the supernatural often yearn for dominion over reality, for recognition, for a power that bends existence to their will. This is an outward pursuit, one that, though cloaked in grandeur, ensnares the seeker in new illusions and unseen chains. But those who tread the spiritual path step into a vast and sacred emptiness, not a void of despair, but a space of profound peace. Here the ego dissolves, desires fade like mist at dawn, and all that remains is pure being, silent, boundless, as gentle as morning dew caressing the earth in quiet devotion. In Zen, there is a koan that whispers, "If you wish to find enlightenment, first empty your teacup." For how can truth enter a vessel already brimming with expectation, with longing, with the relentless desire to control? Only in surrender, in allowing the universe to move as it must, does one awaken to peace, not as a treasure to be seized, but as a presence that has always been there, waiting in the stillness. Clarity of the heart, the gateway to wisdom. Enlightenment is not about knowing more, but about becoming less. Less ego, less desire, less attachment. Like water that surrenders to the pull of the earth, flowing effortlessly to the sea, the heart too must learn to clear itself, not through force, but through trust in the unfolding of existence. A heart unclouded does not rush to seek answers, for it understands that true wisdom does not arrive like crashing waves, but like a river's gentle current, persistent, unwavering, and serene. And when we finally cease our struggle against the flow of the universe, we will come to see that the answers we have long sought were never absent. They have always dwelled within the silence of our own soul. The journey back to light, finding one's true home in the silence of the universe. If these words hold any meaning, let them be but a single drop of dew in the vast ocean of your search for truth. For truth is not something the hands of man can grasp, but a light that must be found through the long pilgrimage toward awakening. Every soul walks its own path, a silent road, winding and uncertain, yet always leading toward the eternal source of light. We are not born without purpose, just as the stars do not shine without reason. Every step we take, every wound we endure, and every joy that graces our hearts are but fragments of a greater mosaic, forming the deeper understanding of our existence. By embracing the origins of our being and surrendering to the wisdom hidden within each moment, we learn to walk with greater clarity. With a heart unburdened, a soul at peace, and an awareness that remains ever awake. Light born from emptiness. Life is like a circle, ever turning, ceaseless in its motion. Yet within this endless turning, there is emptiness. not a void that terrifies, but a vast openness that allows all things to come and go in perfect harmony. This emptiness is the vessel of the seeking soul, the space where we finally understand that release holds more meaning than possession, and that true serenity is not found in grasping, but in allowing all things to flow as they must. Those who chase supernatural power may crave control, seeking to bend reality to their will. But those who walk the spiritual path will find depth within emptiness, a place where nothing needs to be proven, where nothing needs to be owned. In silence, they find answers. In detachment, they taste the essence of true freedom. The message of silence. In the end, it does not matter how we came into this world, whether as a new soul still seeking its form, an old soul burdened by the echoes of past lives, or as part of the great wheel of samsara that turns without end. These are but shadows upon the surface of existence. What truly matters is how we choose to live. Will we remain lost within the veils of illusion, or will we seek the light hidden within the darkness? And this light is not something to be chased, for it has always dwelled within us. Like the first breath of dawn dissolving the mist, true understanding does not arrive in haste, but in quiet revelation. Perhaps, in the end, this journey was never about discovering something new, but about returning home to a peace untouched by the world's turbulence. Every soul walks its own path, wandering in solitude, treading silent corridors that the world may never understand. Yet, in the deepest hush of existence, we all return to the same home, an unwavering peace that has awaited us since the dawn of time. If these reflections bring even a single drop of dew to soothe the thirst of your soul, let them flow freely. Do not hold them as absolute truth, but as a gentle whisper in your quiet hours, a small lantern in your long journey toward the eternal light. For absolute truth belongs only to the One, the source of all things, the keeper of the cosmic order. May goodness flow from every direction, and may all beings dwell in happiness. For in the deepest silence, the light is waiting.